Most of the issues he had to deal with had to most of the time been foreign affairs or, intelligence-related matters, brokering between countries and other regional players. Now he has to do it here between forces inside the country. He is in a difficult position, but I can tell you one thing, meeting with the opposition to try to appease the protesters, certainly not what the protesters here want, and certainly not what the political opposition parties want either. They've made it very clear what they want, and that is for President Hosni Mubarak to step down. Now, whether or not that was the focus of those talks and what potentially could happen in the way forward, that still remains up in the air. Perhaps, again, this is speculation. One of the ideas that people here have been willing to entertain is that if President Hosni Mubarak steps down and General Omar Suleiman, the vice president, becomes in charge of the country, with the forces of the opposition, they could pave the way for an interim government, a transitional government of some sort, perhaps for 6 months, to allow for free and fair elections for all the political forces. We don't know what those discussions are that are taking behind closed doors, what those discussions are about, but it very well could possibly be trying to pave that way forward.
All right, thanks so much for that update, Jamal. There's a lot of commotion going on right now in Tahrir Square. Let's listen in for just a second.
Yes, they...
As you can hear it there, the rhythmic chants coming from Tahrir Square, Liberation Square, where one of our correspondents is actually in the thick of that. We heard some cheering going on just seconds ago. What was going on?
Okay. The situation is unclear exactly what is going on, but there is huge commotion here in Tahrir Square. Just a few moments ago, a new image appeared on the projector screen. I'm trying to make out what it is, but the sheer amount of people here is making it difficult for me to approach that screen. We heard huge whistles and cheers from the crowd. On the other side of the square, there is a huge speaker which is playing nationalistic songs and patriotic songs. People are also partaking in it. Like I've been saying, the spirit of the people here is just an ascent. From day one, it's been getting higher and higher, bolder and bolder, and the people here seem to be persistent, confident and emboldened by their presence. Just to bring in some of the other elements, we've been hearing obviously that this protest that has brought Cairo and Egypt as a whole generally to a standstill has had its economic ramifications. Tourists have been leaving, but there are that are appearing now, people holding banners saying, "Dear tourists, please do not leave, we will..." So the protesters here aren't removed from the situation on the ground across the country. They are aware, very politically aware of what's going on, and it is not just a shallow resistance, if you will, to the situation in Egypt. The people here fully understand what this country is going through, what they need, and the demands are very clear, despite not having maybe a single leadership, but they are very clear in their chants and extremely unified in them, Sami.
Perhaps you can clarify for us, we're hearing reports that the Vice President's office, Omar Suleiman's office, has been contacting protest groups in Tahrir Square, has been sending messages to the protesters. Do you have any more about that?
To be honest, no, I don't. It will be difficult to comment on it because obviously there is a huge amount of people here, and speaking to each one of them, everyone does give you sometimes a different story. But to be honest, everyone I have spoken to thus far in the past few days has rejected Omar Suleiman the same way they've rejected Mubarak. So any attempt by the Vice President to contact the protesters, as far as I understand it from speaking to them, would probably prove futile, because the simple demand, the banners that have been us is not only the demand for Mubarak to leave, but the chant is Al-Shab The people demand the collapse of the regime, and that regime entails Vice President Omar Suleiman, entails President Mubarak, entails the new cabinet, who many of them are not unknown. They are known figures in Egypt, and the Egyptian people, at least those who have been gathered in these protests, do not like them and want to see the end of their governing this country.
All right, thanks for that update. Clearly something is going on. We'll come back to Tahrir Square and things get a little bit clearer. Let's take a look now at some of the other developments that have been going on. As you can see there, live pictures on the left side of the screen of Tahrir Square in Cairo, swelled with more than 1 million people so far, thousands more taking to the streets throughout Egypt, including Alexandria and Suez. And the crowds have been chanting illegitimate in direct defiance of their presidents. Well, soldiers are guarding Mubarak's palace, and they've barricaded it with barbed wire. The army says it has arrested several men and is warning of the threat of armed thugs infiltrating the crowd.